This is a broadcast of SmallCapVoice.com, a financial communications and investor relations firm. SmallCapVoice.com receives payment for investor relations and financial consulting services that it provides to its clients. You should assume that officers, directors, and employees of SmallCapVoice.com or financial analysts mentioned and their families hold a position and intend to trade in these securities for their own accounts. This is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as, investment advice. As in all investments, an investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This broadcast does not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from the featured company and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by SmallCapVoice.com as to completeness or accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice.
You're wired in. SmallCapVoice.com. Following is a presentation of SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support. Now, with your online business briefing, SmallCapVoice.com's Stuart T. Smith.
Welcome one, welcome all to this online business briefing brought to you by SmallCapVoice.com. And as you just heard, I'm your host, Stuart Smith, and we're excited to be joined today for the very first time by Endexx Corporation. They're currently traded on the OTC Pink Exchange under the ticker symbol EDXC. And we are speaking today to the Chief Executive Officer of Endexx, Mr. Todd Davis. Todd, how are you today?
Great. Fantastic, Stuart. Good to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to stop by and speak to your company's shareholders as well as our listeners here at Small Cap Voice. And for those listeners who may not be familiar with what you're doing there or some of your subsidiaries, if you would, let's talk about Endexx and its business model and market.
Okay, Stuart. Just as an introduction, Endexx, we've redesigned and retooled the company based on years of past experience on both successes and failures. And we've designed it as a good old-fashioned holding company. But the idea is that small-cap companies and individual technologies are very difficult to be successful if they stand alone. So Endexx is really designed for entrepreneurs, engineers, doctors, unique technology providers that want to be part of a public company but don't want the mess of being a public company. So with that, we started an acquisition trend and some technology development in 2012, or actually 2011, that put us on a mission that brings us to unique technologies that we feel that we can dominate in certain niches and provide services that will create a sustainable business platform.
Well, that's excellent. Let's talk about some of those then. I'm looking at the news here. Endexx introduces M3 Hub. Endexx enters multi-billion-dollar medical marijuana growth industry. And then listeners, if you follow along to the website that's listed in the first paragraph, that's number 3 Hub, so m3hub.com. This says the science of medical marijuana management. Tell us a little bit about this company.
Well, just talk about the logo for a second. The M3 Hub is medical marijuana management or medical marijuana movement. And the Hub platform is basically, we're creating a technology and services platform that invites all the different services and platforms that are out there today to link into it and start cross-selling and cross-applying the technologies that exist in the medical marijuana space today. On top of that, the M3 Hub platform that Endexx is designing is really designed to help the science of the management, bringing compliance, legitimacy, standardization practices to medical marijuana through our experience and past with pharmacy applications, biotech applications, medical technologies applications. The way we evaluated the medical marijuana management space was, it's a chaotic business. It's brand new. Nobody quite knows what they're doing or the direction they should really take to be successful. So we looked at it from a sustainability standpoint and two main purposes. One is protect the patient, protect the client, and create some knowledge for that patient to get used to that new clinical environment that we anticipate is coming. And two, provide systems that allow people to operate as a business in the space in a legitimate, compliant fashion.
Very good. Well, the M3 Hub is just one of three that I see here on the company's website, listeners, listed under subsidiaries. That company website is Endexx.com, ENDEXX.com. So listed first, as we just went over the M3 Hub, then we have the Project Canopy. So talk to us a little bit about this. It's something that's under construction currently, as the website says, but will harness the power of the cloud into a single source, always-on collaboration tool. Obviously, a lot of people working in the cloud these days. Talk to us a little bit about this, if you would, Todd.
Okay. Originally, Endexx was formed we created a document management platform in a CRM-type model for public companies to manage their insider documents, their live documents, the documents that were active and would truly be considered a threat to their company if they were discovered by someone else outside the company. And that goes back to the Sarbanes-Oxley and corporate governance movement that we experienced 2001 to 2005. We went about building out that platform. We got about 15 of the S&P 500 companies out there on the system. It was working fantastic. 2008 hit, and companies stopped writing checks, and that was basically the end of our service for the time being. But what we learned from that, Stuart, was the companies that employed our system were not just using it for document management. They stopped traveling. They stopped having board meetings in centralized location, and they started hosting their board meetings inside our document platform. It allowed for the main host to control the meeting and the content, and it allowed the board directors and the C-level management to independently log into the system, to skip around and move around where they needed to be in their documents at the same time. So we looked at that platform and said, this is how people naturally want to use it. That's what we're going to design. And after 2008, 2009, 2010, there wasn't a lot of money in the small cap space, so we put the brakes on it, and we developed it at a base level. So now technology is catching up, and we will be assembling those technologies back into a usable format that allows the live document to be there and the communication actually to be internal to the process instead of external. For instance, if you use GoToMeeting, you're on an external server operating within the system. We're going to have a live internal system where the document is live, it's always on. It works like the old Nextel system where you push a button, you talk, that part of that equation's out. But if you reach out to anybody who's attached to that document, you can instantly populate them into any device, a cell phone, a tablet, a smartphone, a computer. So it's one of those universal platforms where the costs have come way down, the technology has finally caught up to where we were at, and we're able to integrate some simple technologies that allow anybody, any size business, to operate in that collaborative platform.
Well, and another exciting subsidiary is Global Solaris Group. So these are three different target markets and three subsidiaries that are operating in really some of the hottest markets today that we speak about. Global Solaris Group is an integrator of renewable energy services. Now, they're also based in Arizona. Tell us a little bit about Global Solaris Group.
Okay. Global Solaris Group was founded here in Arizona through a group of technology and construction individuals that had a lot of experience in that space, green construction and other scenarios. We saw in Arizona, in the immediate space, a need for project financing and project development in schools and commercial organizations that were smaller and getting overlooked by the main markets. That still continues to be the case. If the project for a solar development project is not greater than $5 million in value, almost nobody wants to finance it. They'll finance houses all day long, but they were not doing the commercial space. So what we have found is financiers in the solar region are not financing the deals less than $5 million. We're working on strategies right now to find a finance solution for that space. In the meantime, we did generate significant lead bases and significant construction projects that we bid on. We won a few of them. The first project actually went live 2 weeks ago, and should be complete in the next 6 weeks. So in that sector, in Arizona alone, there are 70 Catholic churches. The first Catholic church to go solar is now under our construction with our development partner, Scout Solar. So it's a hard business to really make a direction in today. One of the goal for that particular division is to create a financing division for all deals less than $5 million in the commercial space, and then work with partners on anything greater than $5 million. It's a tough business, Stuart. It's not as shiny and solar as it used to be, but it is a business we think is sustainable for the long run.
Well, very good, and good to hear it. And it's going to take a strong management team to execute on all of these different subsidiaries. So let's change gears and talk a little bit about that. Tell us about yourself and any other key members of the management team.
Okay, about myself, I've been in the investment banking and small cap arena since 1990. I started in the biotech arena and medical technologies arena, participated in, with the companies that I work for, over 150 IPOs, secondary offerings, and different structuring that allowed for small companies like these to prosper. After 1995, small companies just kind of didn't get underwritten anymore. It moved up to, if you weren't raising 15 to 30 million, it wasn't a good space for you. Then it became 50 million was the minimum cutoff. Then it became 100 million, and so on. So now the small cap arena, I just chose as my specialty. And as a broker in Chicago, I created some trading platforms that worked really well for all stocks. One company that I do run other than Endexx Corporation is Pro17.com. And it's a system that allows small companies to manage their communications with the public and their investors better in a more systematic format that allows their stocks to perform better. So I have a good feel from both sides of the equation. What works in the stock market, what works in the finance market. Bring those two ideas together and execute on individual technologies or services that help other entrepreneurs do the same thing. As far as our management goes, I'll refer to a couple people in M3 Hub, for instance. Timothy Hayes is a senior pharmacy management expert. He's built and developed multiple pharmacies in the last 50 years. He's been around a long time. He knows more about compliance and the pharmacy space than anybody I've ever met. I've seen him perform successfully in that space for many years. And we created a friendship about 10 years ago and a business collaboration back then. We were successful in the pharmacy management solutions arena. I brought him on board and really rely on his expertise to guide us into this medical marijuana space. A couple acquisitions we made, for instance, with CanCan, a division of a section of medical marijuana for us, or the M3 Hub. We're looking at vending solutions and inventory solutions. Dave Levine is one of our key guys there. He's provided us some excellent guidance in the early stages of development here, and really is showing us what doesn't work as much as what does work. So if we can control our resource output well by other people's experience, that's what we're harnessing right now. And then in the global Solaris, Alan Soutenay is our key engineer and construction specialist there. He's been running and implementing all the bidding processes, joint ventures, and other technology solutions that we're working with in that field. So other than that, we've got mostly consultants on basis. We don't carry a heavy employment or salary cost yet, but it's very apparent based on the early success of these platforms that's going to change over time.
Well, let's talk about the year 2012, and then we'll get your outlook for 2013. What was the company able to establish? What foundation was made? Let's talk about the milestones as you see them in 2012 and even here in the first 4 months of 2013.
In 2012, we recognized and really solidified where we wanted to go with Global Solaris Group, and that was more into the finance and contracting part of the equation. So we got rid of necessarily wanting to control the actual project. That put us in a place where we could make margins without costing a lot for the company, between 10 and 20% per project. We evaluated several technologies in 2012. We actually established an app division. We have not made public announcements on it yet. We won't until the apps are ready for market. in the app division, we're looking at changing the way the smartphone is used in radio and TV advertising. So that will be coming soon. That's a very key future concept for our company that will get exposed in the third and fourth quarter of this year, and we feel that that is one of our big winners. And then came the medical marijuana management or medical marijuana movement. We started our due diligence in the fourth quarter. We looked at previous technologies that we've worked with, how to harness those technologies, and really found a solution that allowed us to participate in medical marijuana management without being on the sales side of the product or the medicine itself. And that was our key objective as if we were going to tackle this as a public company. We didn't want to be marijuana distributors. We wanted to create systems that created strong business platforms for the people in that space. And that's what 2012 brought us. It brought us some focus. It brought us 3 unique platforms that we could really focus on. And in the background, Canopy is working as well because it is applied across all of these spaces.
Well, let's now look at 2013. Todd, what are some of your goals across the board for these companies and your company itself? Give us your outlook for 2013.
Endexx will continue to foster and develop our current technologies, which is our app technology, Global Solaris Group, and the M3 Hub. The M3 Hub we are currently is requiring the most amount of attention. We're in negotiations with multiple acquisition candidates. If they're not necessarily acquisition candidates, we're looking at them as joint venture partners. We've evaluated many technologies that are out there and that are no longer under consideration. We believe we have a go-to-market strategy with M3 Hub that will put us into a revenue-generating state as early as the third quarter, but real aggressively in the fourth quarter and first quarter of next year. The systems are, as we reported, the majority of the systems are already built. Now we're in the integration cycle. A lot of it's just at the software level, the programming level, to make sure they sync together. They're compliant. They're not only DEA compliant for future purposes, but they're state and local compliant with the current laws that allow the entrepreneurs and vendors in the medical marijuana space to operate in a compliant fashion. So really what we want is the M3 Hub to be the dominant player in systems and services for that industry. On Global Solaris, we're looking to advance our joint alliances and partnerships there and execute on multiple contracts. And with our app, we'll be excited to show you that later in the summer.
Well, everyone, as I said in the beginning, we are speaking with Todd Davis. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Endexx. Endexx currently traded on the OTC Pinks under the ticker symbol EDXC. You can learn more about the company through that ticker symbol and find all their press releases. As we discussed earlier, Endexx introduces M3 Hub that came out late April, and there's a couple of other great press releases on their press wire. Todd, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us here today at SmallCapVoice.com. We look forward to great things from you and your company here in 2013.
We appreciate it, Stuart, and we look forward to keeping everybody posted on the developments of Endexx and look forward to all making money together as investors.
Outstanding. Well, once again, that's Todd Davis, and I'm Stuart Smith, saying thanks so much for listening.
SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support, provides its clients with the highest level of service. Our audio interviews are disseminated to one of the largest opt-in audiences available today. How? We at SmallCapVoice.com believe in aligning and affiliating ourselves with other leaders within the investor relations community. By sharing resources, each affiliated firm is made that much stronger and each client is served that much better. Our focus is to identify and provide the very best financial services and solutions available to clients and their shareholders. For more information about our services, please call us at 512-267-2430 or visit us on the web at www.smallcapvoice.com.